Welcome back to New England Living. I'm your host, Rachel Holt. Up next, Chef Daniel Bruce joins us in the test kitchen for a wine and seafood pairing you don't want to miss. Born and raised in northern New England, Chef Daniel Bruce is one of the region's most recognized and accomplished chefs. He has twice been awarded one of the best hotel chefs in America at the James Beard House and Chef of the Year by the Massachusetts Restaurant Association. Now in his third decade at the Boston Harbor Hotel, Chef Bruce also famously launched the Boston Wine Festival. With a unique passion for food and wine, and the art of pairing the two, Chef Daniel Bruce has transformed the culinary landscape. We're here at the Clark Sub-Zero and Wolf showroom, and I am joined by Chef Daniel Bruce. Thanks so much for joining us.
Great to be here.
I see a beautiful piece of halibut over there. What are we making today?
Yeah, so obviously I want to cook simple because those at home want to be able to reproduce this. So we're going to talk about how to pick out a fresh fish at your local supermarket. This is an Atlantic halibut, and this is translucent. You can see it. It's a little dry on the edge. That means it's very fresh. If it's white, it means it's been frozen. Or if it has a sort of a glistening sort of slippery edge to it, most likely it's too old. So that's really important to pick out fish. So all I'm going to do is simply I'm going to cut these into 4 pieces. So this is enough for 4 people. Very simple. We're going to take one of these pieces. We're going to just put it in an oven-proof pan, touch of salt, touch of pepper. And I have 3 different types of mushrooms, and all we do is take the mushrooms, saute them with shallots, garlic, a little bit of butter until they're cooked. Cool them down, and then we're just going to add a little bit of breadcrumb and a little egg to bind, and it forms this beautiful little crust. Now, the great thing about this is you can make this ahead of time. So you would have this right in your refrigerator, ready to go. Your guests come over, you have a glass of wine, and then pop it in a 375 preheated oven. And this is going to take about 6 or 7 minutes.
You made it look easy. Well, we already talked about the freshness of the fish, but you actually found these mushrooms, so they have to be incredibly fresh as well.
So I've been a forager for 45 years, a long time. My dad is a Maine guide, so I went in the woods and started foraging. I was able to pick up a lot of knowledge, and I'm a chef, so I cook with mushrooms all the time. So it's been a passion of mine. It's not just mushrooms, but berries and wild edibles I can find. It's always nice if you can take something from the beginning to the end as a chef.
All right, it doesn't get much more fresh than that. Hand-picking the mushrooms for us.
Exactly.
You've been doing this for 32 years, so obviously you love what you do. What drives your passion?
I think it's who I am. I mean, I really enjoy creating dishes. I love the wine aspect, the foraging aspect, but at the end of the day, it's making people happy, you know? And is there a better job to do than make people happy? For me, no. So that's why I do it.
What you do that's unique is most people start with the food and then pick a wine to go with it, but you start with the wine and then you pick food to go with it. So how do you go about that?
I do. So I've been doing the Boston Wine Festival for 32 years, and each year is 35 to 45 vintners come. So it's important to me to honor the wine. So I taste the wine first and make notes, and the notes are really about, as a chef, what flavors I taste. And then from those flavors, and I'll give you an example, say I taste a California Cabernet, and I taste plum, I taste black currants, and I taste cocoa. Then I'll try to think of dishes that could work, you know, sort of incorporate those sort of flavors. What's really important is if you're at home, try tasting with some friends and try seeing what you taste. Go into your refrigerator, look for one of those ingredients, and try it with it and say, oh my God, I think this tastes great. Or if you taste cocoa, and you have some cherries in the refrigerator, try cherries, because listen, you know, chocolate-covered cherries are good, so be inventive.
Why did you pick Chardonnay for us today?
So New England whitefish, which is really the fish of choice here in New England, whether it's a halibut, whether it's a cod, whether it's a black sea bass, are super pristine. They have a bit of salinity, but they're also very fresh. American Chardonnay has a sort of a little creaminess to it, usually some white fruit, whether it's pear or apple, and it finishes with some bright acidity, which is not unlike when you use lemon to sort of pop the flavors in the fish. So they really work hand in hand.
So we know about pairing wine with food, but what about sauces?
Well, sauces, especially when you make it at home, you want to keep simple, but they're a really important part of the dish because they can really add a lot of flavor. If I'm doing it at home, I like to have everything in one pot. So in this case, a little bit of Chardonnay, because I'm using Chardonnay, cream, and some fresh sweet corn that I took off the cob. And I'm just heating this up. And all you do is just heat it up together, and it takes only about 2 or 3 minutes. That's what I love. A lot less time to cook, more time to dry wine, right? Other sauces you can do, of course, are purees, like spinach purees and carrot purees. They're so good, they're so healthy, and you don't have to add really much fat. So this is now coming out of the oven. You can see it's super nice.
It smells delicious.
It smells good. So we're just going to assemble this, and it's very simple. One thing that people don't think about is trying different plates. and see how they work, because I have a very white dish, really. And so using a darker plate is a much better option. Now the other thing at home is how to finish this. You know what's kind of a nice trick is to take olive oil and you fry like sage leaves or rosemary or parsley, and they look like sort of leaves falling in the forest. That would be what I'd be serving it. And of course I would do it with this wine. And this wine is just a beautiful Chardonnay.
And what's baffling is how quickly it took you to make that dish.
Yeah, and it looks pretty good, I think.
It
You know,
does.
not so bad, and easy to make at home, which I think is important, because you want to have something that looks good, looks impressive. You can do a lot of this dish ahead of time, which is important.
I already have my fork ready to go. I'm obviously very excited for this.
So when you taste the wine, or you smell the wine, first all your flavors come from the nose, so you can smell creaminess. There's a lot of pears in there, a lot of apples. You get that. And of course, when you taste it, that's where you're going to get the acidity at the finish. The best way to do it is, if you're doing it at home and you're trying it, is you taste it. There's 5 S's: see, sip, smell, savor. So
My favorite is the sip part.
I thought you would say, yeah, I thought you'd say that.
All right.
And then what you want to do is taste the wine. It's still as a memory in your mind, so, and on your palate, and just try this together with it and see how you like it.
All right. I took a big bite.
I
I
saw
really
that.
went for it there. That is absolutely incredible. And the best part is you can actually find this recipe on our website, cbsboston.com/New England Living. Cheers.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.